Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Furman Mazda in sunny Clearwater, Florida, and we got Mazda's big boy for you. This is the 2019 Mazda CX-9. So let's talk a little bit about Mazda and their history when it comes to being a corporation. Mazda, the company, actually first started in 1921 as a cork producing company. Fast forward to the 1930s, and that's when they came out with their first vehicle. It actually was a three-wheeled vehicle called the Mazda Go. Go through the 1970s, 80s, 90s, and into the 21st century. Well, guess what? They've done some amazing things with some great technology. You know, they were so famous for so many years with that rotary engine. They brought the Mazda Miata into existence and have sold over 1 million copies of it. And now they're hitting that SUV segment of the car industry really hard. Something for everybody. This is a full-size, 3-row, 7-passenger SUV to go up against the Subaru Ascent, to go up against the Kia Telluride, and even things like the Honda Passport and whatnot. So let's go ahead and dive into this 2019 CX-9. Right off the bat, the one thing that I love just looking at it is that machine gray color. Very classy. It looks like no other gray that I've seen because it's got a very unique balance of flake to it. There's not a bunch of metal flake, but just enough to make it look like metal off of a machine. That really unique styling when it comes to the front of a Mazda. They're doing this great thing where they're making their brand identity based off the front fascia, not just the grille, but the whole front fascia. You can see very thin headlights for a large SUV. Even coming down here, this is what I'm telling you about. You don't need to put a bunch of fake vents. They have this right here, and that's fine, but the rest of it is that beautiful machine gray. As we go across the bottom, I like the flat black, and I like the use of the chrome because it really blends in well with the grille. Speaking of this grille, I think Mazda's doing an amazing job with the style of the grille. You got a front facing camera. All of your laser and radar technology are hidden behind the very classy Mazda logo and just the shape. Like I said, you look at a Mazda 3, you look at the 6, they all have this unique identity to it, but the CX-9 definitely stands out from this lower portion down here. As we go up onto the hood, I love how they take the body line from the front fascia all the way into the hood, and they actually did one solid one, and then you have another one that just gently comes up and comes to the corner of the fender. Now, as we wrap it around, I really think it was smart for Mazda to take the flat black, bring it around the wheel well. There's our wheel. This thing is a good looking wheel, pops well with the machine gray color. If you're wondering, well, what's the size of this? It's a 20-inch wheel, fits perfectly. Now, this one is fully loaded. There are different versions with different wheel sizes, but I think, hey, if you're gonna go big, go all the way with a fully loaded CX-9. As we go down the side, nice that they, hey, take the gray color, bring it onto the mirrors, very thin LED turn signal lighting, and then I really like what Mazda does with the roof rails. It's not a shiny chrome, it's almost like a brushed aluminum, and it really goes well with the overall aesthetics of the car. I like the gloss black on the door parts here, and the chrome that goes all the way around, very nicely done. And then as we drop down, also think it was very smart to splash some chrome down there. It just makes it a more cohesive package. As we come into the rear fender section, I think Mazda's probably one of the best when it comes to taillights. I mean, these taillights look like they belong on a sports car. Really great look. And if you look at a lot of the other Mazda products here, it's a very, very unique combination. You have the chrome trim that goes from side to side, and I like the way that they integrated it into the taillight. And then one thing you'll notice too is that even with this being a large 3-row SUV, I like the back, how it is nice and flat. So when you're backing this up, you don't have to worry about a lower bumper section sticking out. It's a nice, all seamless transition from top to bottom. Speaking of the bottom, there's more of that chrome trim. I like the flat black, and I think it was very tasteful to put a nice, simple dual exhaust, nothing flashy, but let's go ahead and pop the hood and see what's powering this CX-9. All right, guys, we got the hood popped on this CX-9. Now, one thing that Mazda took a little bit of flack on is underneath the hood is a 4-cylinder engine. Now this one is a 2.5 liter turbocharged engine, and it's actually quite surprising. At the end of the day, this thing is going to be able to get up and go. So when you're looking at actual numbers, we're looking at 250 horsepower, 310 foot-pounds of torque. It's mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. So if you hate CVTs, you'll be safe at Furman Mazda because none of the cars have CVTs. This weighs in at 4,365 pounds. If you're wondering about MPGs, you're looking at about 21 in the city, 26 on the highway, 0 to 60. Now remember, this weighs 4,300 pounds, 0 to 60 in 7.1 seconds, quarter mile in 15.5. New for 2019 is going to be Apple CarPlay and a available 360 degree rear view camera. So those are some niceties that you get technology wise. But like I said, if you look at the Subaru Ascent, that one also has a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Now that's a flat 4, but this thing with that 250 horsepower can get up and go. But let's go ahead and fire her up and see what she sounds like. Alright guys, we're inside the 2019 Mazda CX-9. They're big, the biggest vehicle they got here on the lot that's sold by Mazda. Now if you're wondering, well, does it come with a big price? Now this one is Grand Touring, so it's pretty much fully loaded. There is the signature one, which is above that, but other than that, you're looking at an MSRP of $42,000. Let's see what you get. Onto the door panels. I love what Mazda is doing with the door panels. You have a lot of nice different materials, soft materials. They break up the black with some silver, and that armrest and whatnot, it's a different color, which is kind of cool. So that kind of just blends into the difference in the door panel materials. Now you do have gloss black around the switch gear for your windows and your door locks and whatnot. But you have some nice, almost like an aluminum gray color, which looks very tasteful around the door handle and whatnot. As you transition into the dash, I love what's going on with the silver around the AC vents. Also, the AC vent is kind of like sunken in. It looks different from anything else that I've seen in other SUVs. Very soft material. This is a two-tone. It's like a chocolate brown with the black, and everywhere you touch is soft. There's that aluminum finish that goes from one corner all the way over to this side. Nice, simple AC vents. And then as we drop down, you're going to get heated steering wheel. You get dual climate control, ventilated and heated seats. You have a very deep cubby here. Now, there's no charging whatsoever that takes place in there, but it is a very deep cubby. You know me. I'm going to zonk it because I wish there was just a sliding cover here. Especially, think about what's going to be down there. You're not charging your phone, that's for sure. You do have some gloss black around the shifter, but you know what? If you don't touch it and put fingerprints all over it, it looks very classy, very upscale. And that's the thing with Mazda. No matter what Mazda I get into, it feels very upscale compared to a lot of the other competitors, especially Japanese competitors. I like the silver trim everywhere. You have a nice rotary dial. Now, when we go into that infotainment system, it is an 8-inch screen, and you can do touchscreen, or you can use the rotary dial to go through the different features. And I really like the rainbow design to it. It makes it easy to navigate through those different features. So very quick reacting. Like I said, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, new for 2019. You can see the chocolate brown goes around, and this is kind of cool. It's like a raised center console area right here, and then it drops down. It gives it a nice character to it that I haven't seen in a lot of other SUVs. Then we have a nice padded armrest, leather material, and what's interesting, and I don't understand this, but you have a button for one side. So I guess if you want to kind of squeeze your arm in here, they allow you to do that, but guess what? Both bomb bay doors open. You have 2 USBs, an aux cord, and a nice felt line container in here so you could put your class ring from high school in here and it won't get all scratched up. But just very interesting the way they have 2 separate buttons, different than any other bomb bay doors that I've seen on any other cars. Seats, very supportive, very nice leather. I love the perforated center, and I love the light contrast stitching. It's almost like that chocolate brown contrast stitching. Very tasteful seat, really usable, and I feel like I could sit in this all day long. Now, my only zonk is for Grand Touring, $42,000. We just have one single sunroof. There's no vitamin D for the people in the back. They're gonna have to stick their heads out the window. But why don't you come on over to the business end and I'll show you what's going on behind the wheel of the CX-9. All right, guys, the business end, behind the wheel of the CX-9. When you come in, I really like the tasteful controls for the power assisted seat. This is something that feels BMW-ish. You have your memory settings right here. Really like the way they took it and just put it here rather than on the door. Steering wheel. I love the size of it. Just want it to be a little thicker. I don't know why they're going with such thin steering wheels nowadays across many different manufacturers, but very tasteful horn button. I like the silver. You have simple thumb controls to toggle through your different features, and then the dash. Simple, classy, functional. That's a digital speedometer in the center, believe it or not. And it looks like analog. It tells you what gear you're in. And then it also has digital readout for fuel range, your miles per gallon. And then you have an analog tach, an analog fuel gauge, and coolant gauge. So easily laid out and real easy to see. Now with the Grand Touring, you do have a heads-up display, very clear, right at a perfect eye level. And then overall, like I said, 6 feet tall, tons of headroom. I mean, I could grow an extra foot in here and I'd still have some headroom. And then overall, I like the seat and how comfortable it is. Really good driving position. Let's go see what the passengers are gonna be doing in that back seat. All right, guys, back seat time of this Mazda CX-9. Very comfortable seating. You know, like I said, 6 feet tall, I got plenty of headroom. I think that's a benefit of not having a sunroof back here. If there was a sunroof, it'd be a little bit more compact on top of my cranium. But overall, I do like the softness of the seat, and it's very, very supportive. Love the material. They brought, like I said, that perforated leather back here. Looks really good. The seats are heated. They're not ventilated. And then what I really like what Mazda does is, guess what? The back of the seat is wrapped in full leather. So you got that beautiful leather all the way around. It's very soft. 2 separate pockets, which is a nice touch. And then you have a nice looking command center here with your AC controls. That's how you heat your seats if you wanted to. So that's a very nice touch. Overall, where you're probably saying, hey, are there cup holders? Are there USB? Watch this. This is like the mini command center from Mazda. So you have your 2 cup holders, right? And then up this goes, and look at that, nice felt lined. And you have 2 USBs to put whatever you need in there to charge. And then you could actually close it and run the cord out and still have it down. It is a little hard, but I kind of like the way they have the USB up here rather than down there. And then guess what? When you're done, you just fold it back. One last thing is that you actually have, if you look, these sunshades, which is very nice. And I know it's probably got real dark in here. That's the point of the sunshade, to keep the sun out. But why don't we go ahead and check out that back cargo area and see what the heck can you put in the back of a CX-9. All right, guys, the most important part of any SUV, that cargo area. So you're just gonna push the button. Of course, it has a power operated rear tailgate. And then you can see we got a plethora of floor mats here. Little tight on the space with the 3rd row up. Now, obviously, we could put that 3rd row down, and real simple. Kind of a little innovative design by Mazda. Instead of having any buttons or anything like that, you just pull this, the headrest goes down like that. I'm gonna come on over here and get out of Tom's way. Little cumbersome, but hey, it folds down flat, and now you can see the space you're working with. And then of course those seats would fold down. Now to fold down that row, you have to go and open up the doors to lift up on that handle. Cup holders in the back, and there is a 12 volt back here. But let's go ahead. We've seen the cargo area. Let's see Joe Rady from Rady's Rides get in that 3rd row, because it looks kind of tight. All right, guys, back seat time. Now, I did forget to show you both sides of the middle row here does have a sliding seat. So this seat can be slid forward or backwards depending on what the passenger wants. Now, to get into that 3rd row, you're gonna have to do something here. So we pull up on that lever, it comes forward, the seat goes all the way. So pretty good amount of space right here to get into. but get ready because we're getting into a cave. It's going to get dark. I should have brought my lantern with me or my coal miner's helmet. So we're going to go ahead and just climb on in. And once you're in, it's not too bad. It is a little tight back here because of the way the roof line comes down. But, you know, 6-foot Joe Rady got back here. With the seat back in play, it's going to be tight. I'm fighting over the middle row, or I'm calling shotgun and I'm sitting up front. But let's go ahead. If you're ready, I hope you're ready to be shotgun up front with me. We're going to go for a spin. Let's go do it. All right, guys, we rolled out of Furman Mazda. We're in the 2019 CX-9. Even for their largest SUV, very comfortable to drive. I like what Mazda does with the windshield because they really pull back the A-pillars and allow a great view out over the hood. And the hood really slants down so you're not just looking at an aircraft carrier in front of you out that windshield. Love the heads-up display. You know, for the navigation, I know it's a little dated, but it still looks good and it's fairly easy to see, even with the direct sunlight that we're getting from the sunroof. One of the biggest things with any Mazda, I don't care what it is that they really work on helping you feel more connected to the drive. And that's one thing I noticed right away is steering feel is great in this thing. Now I am gonna put it in sport mode. What that's gonna do is it's gonna adjust the transmission calibration, and it's also gonna adjust throttle sensitivity and whatnot. But really, really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and tip it in this right-hand bend here on the brakes. Very compliant, very compliant. I'm actually really enjoying what they have done with this SUV. My only big complaint is how usable is that third row for you? If you need something where you have some full-size people that need to go back there on a regular basis, it's gonna be a little cumbersome for them. But if you want a an SUV, at this price point, the fit and finish in here is solid. With the Grand Touring, they've worked even more to provide a better environment to the cabin with more sound deadening material and whatnot, and it is really, really quiet in here. I love how it has ventilated seats. They work really well, and I really like the leather. That's the way to go, and it's a darker leather. Now, I know that could cause things to look a little cave-ish inside because it's so dark with the interior, but the great news is if you have kids, especially young ones, and they're spilling things and stuff, it's gonna hide all those spills and people aren't gonna get grossed out when they come into your CX-9. Let me go ahead and get on throttle here. So like I was saying, you know, a lot of people were upset that they put a 4-cylinder turbo instead of the V6, but you know what? It still has plenty of pep for a vehicle this size, and it's real easy to navigate with this thing. I love the direct feeling that you get with those front wheels, and that's something that you're not gonna find in a lot of SUVs. It is a little bit softer of a ride, and when you pitch it into a turn, of course you're gonna have that lean factor there, but it actually sets up very nicely. I'm gonna make this U-turn, get on the throttle. Shifts are nice and precise into this right-hand bend. Solid. It feels very, very solid, very on point, and I think Mazda did a great job with the suspension tuning to allow you to feel a little bit more sporty in a full-size SUV. When it comes to navigation and stuff, it's great to have your elbow on that nice soft armrest. You have your dial controller to get through your different controls. It's got a nice click to it, and it feels good. It doesn't feel cheap, which is nice, and that's what I love about these Mazdas, is that they do not feel cheap at this price point. This feels like a more expensive vehicle. Brakes feel great. Overall, just a very comfortable, very attractive looking SUV, especially this larger size of SUV. Just driving around, it's very, very nice to navigate the streets. And like I said, if you need to accelerate and merge over, it's easy to do. You do have the full suite of all the safety features, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist. I like the graphics that are in that heads-up display, and just overall, I am very impressed with how this drives and rides, especially compared to some of its competitors. But we're gonna go ahead, hopefully you got enough of the CX-9, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up and get back to Furman Mazda, and I will see you in a split second. All right guys, it's been a wonderful day here at Furman Mazda. Definitely gotta give a huge thank you to Matt and Rob for opening up the dealership, and everybody else here at Furman Mazda, open up the dealership, allowing us access to these amazing Mazda products. If these are the types of things you like to see on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in that comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. Check out my different forms of social media. You know what they're called. It's all Rady's Rides original content all the time. If you want to get some merch, click that link in the description. Takes you right to Spreadshirt. And then, of course, Big Guns McGee. Check out his photography page on Instagram, @MoshPhotos. He's doing the business with this CX-9. There was plenty of room for him and his protein. So thumbs up for not only Tom, but also Mazda with the CX-9. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.